Soireta kesarenina makai kesitasa. Welcome. Saireta kesarenina namakai kesitasa. Such an honor to be here with you. Soireta ko suitepa kesarenina namakai kesitasa. In today's episode, we're talking about going from ancestral trauma to ancestral wisdom. And we've been talking about ancestral trauma the past 2 weeks, so because it has been very present and it's been also in my experience and in the field. And so I would like to shift it a little bit to know that, you can actually see the light at the end of the tunnel, okay? So it's not like all about like, oh gosh, I'm stuck with this trauma. But you can actually move from there to wisdom. And so I'll be sharing with you about part of my journey about it. So then you can actually see, yeah? You can actually see and open up to receive that wisdom within yourself, okay? Knowing that my experience opens up your experience as well, and your experience opens up my experience as well. So thank you so much. And before we start, let's just breathe together for a couple breaths. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels safe for you. Let's take a deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth, letting it go. A couple more times. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Last time, deep inhale through the nose. And exhaling through the mouth. Just coming into normal breathing, keeping the eyes closed if you close them. Just begin to tap inwards, giving yourself permission to receive, to open up to any transmission that comes through in the shape of words, maybe in the shape of a sound or in the space in between words and sounds. Knowing that there's a reason why you're listening to this episode. You've been called to listen to this episode. Something in here is for you. And perhaps telling yourself, whether it's out loud or within, I receive, I open up to receive for my highest good and the highest good of all. I'm beginning to invite gentle movements on the fingers, on your toes, maybe your neck and shoulders. Maybe stretching a little bit. And whenever you're ready, you can open up your eyes. Thank you so much. Welcome, welcome. There's a whole deal about the ancestors. It can be so triggering for others. And to be honest, it was a little triggering for myself as well. When we hear, right, that pretty much the shit of your ancestors come through if you receive them and you're like, okay, thank you so much for this. But the thing here is that, and I've said this before in the past episodes, like we get to choose, right? You get to choose. You get to choose is you're going to be like, okay, well, that was crappy. Thank you so much for passing this on me, right? Or be like, maybe there's a higher reason why this was passed down to me. And what could that be, right? What could that be? In my experience is service out of love, unconditional love, right? For my ancestors and for myself. However, it first starts with you, yeah? So a lot of times as humans or even space holders or energy workers, if you resonate with any of those titles, right? It's about like, how do I get to heal somebody else, right? How do I get to heal my family and all these things when like, and this is actually one of the Reiki principles, right? Like you do it for you first. And maybe you don't resonate with this, right? But even though I heard my Reiki master saying this years and years and years ago, That was not my priority. My priority was my family, my loved ones, my close ones, right? And then I started to realize, hey, I need to do this for myself first, right? And that's okay. Sometimes we go through that experience to realize what the deeper experience could be for us, right? So you do this for yourself first, right? Because then everything else will take care of itself because you're doing this for you. Okay, so in this particular instance about ancestral trauma, right? And if you've had so much baggage, and like perhaps all of us have so much baggage, you guys, it's not like something like, oh, that just one person has an extremely huge load in their bags because of their ancestors. And perhaps it's like different kind of percentage, if you will, of how big this baggage is in your being, especially in your energetics. But it doesn't mean it that one doesn't have it. Yeah. I don't believe that. And that's my experience in my own journey and also holding space for others as they're going through the healing process of ancestral trauma. Okay. And if you're super interested about that, schedule a call with me. The links are down below. We can just chat about it and see how if we actually work together very well. Yeah. So going into that, you can choose, right? And first of all, as I was saying, this is about you. You can choose if you want to be in that energetics. And let me tell you, this is all about energetics, okay? If you want to be in the energy field that is a little lower, right? That is just stuck in the cycle and is really just going collapsing into itself without it not expanding as much because it does expand, yeah, but like contracting so much and tensing the energetics, so closing some channels to get to experience the gift that you are as a human being, yeah, or you get to be like, I want to expand. I want to get to know myself, like who I am, what am I, my powers, my strength. Like I'm curious, right? And curiosity is something so wonderful, which is kind of funny. I remember in architecture school, one of my teachers, through one of my projects, I think it was one of my final projects, was like, "Ooh, curiosity killed a cat." Let me tell you, in this experience of energy, okay, curiosity is actually one of the things that guided me into being so good at energy work, into expanding out of like the bubble of Reiki and getting into deeper channeling and light language and seeing energy and listen to energy and all these things, right? So again, if this resonates with you, right, you can expand out of the bubble by being curious. So what else can I do? And if I've been doing something quote unquote negative for myself, right? Is there something I can do that is better, right? This question of like, how could I shift? And am I willing to shift? And how could that even be, right? Could I actually imagine, right? So if you've been stuck in this cycle of ancestral trauma, right? And we talked about it in the last episodes that I invite you to really listen to them. If you're not very familiar to this concept, right? We've been talking about this heaviness, like this darkness and these cycles that happened over and over again. And then you're like, I just keep doing it. And I don't know, it's maybe sometimes you have this sensation that something happens and then all of a sudden, bam, you're back online and you're like, what just happened? Okay. So it feels like so heavy. Then you're like, how is this possible that I can't carry this? It doesn't even seem that a human being could hold this in this tiny, quote unquote, right? Tiny, tiny little body, right? So chances are that you are going through like a big process of ancestral trauma, right? And what I mean by that is actually the healing process of it, which has been super present, you guys, in the past months, okay? So you get to see this experience as like, all right, well, I have the power to get out of the cycle, right? And begin a new cycle of empowerment. Simple. That is the curiosity, right? And do I have what it takes? Absolutely. The reason why this is happening, the reason why this is popping up into your field, into your awareness, right? Is because you can, is because you actually set up to break the cycle. Your ancestors are in a way waiting for you, or have been waiting for you to be like, okay, come on, you can do it, right? You can do it. And I know you can. And they're holding space for you, okay? It's not that your ancestors just like give you all this crap, right? And it's in a way like throw all these things at you and be like, here, take it, take it, take it. And they're laughing at you, right? No. And in my experience of healing this process, they've been by me holding my hands, holding my energy, saying, like, hey, it's not that you're doing this alone. We are doing this together collectively. Okay. So you're not alone in this. You're not alone in this, not in your energetics with your own family members, right? And your lineages, but collectively. It's like imagine this smaller bubbles all around, and that's the personal consciousness, right? There's going through the shifts. And then there's this huge bigger bubble that is the collective consciousness of all of us who is really making sure this cloud of the collective consciousness of ancestral healing becomes and shifts into ancestral wisdom. Okay. So the moment that you choose you, the moment that you say, okay, nope, I'm done. I don't want to continue doing this cycle over and over again. I know how that feels like, and it sucks. I know how that feels like for me, how it felt like for me. I mean, it was not very fun at all, to go through all those ups and downs and then these really dark days, and sometimes were days, literally, not just like 30 minutes or maybe an hour, right? It was like deep, deep shit, right? So, I mean, I know how that feels. I can resonate, with when somebody says these kinds of things, right? And so if you know how that feels like in you, right? And it's like, I don't want to do this anymore, but you're constantly just going over and over and over and continue to be in the cycle, you're punishing yourself and you don't need to do that anymore. You don't need to do that anymore. What happens here is that you got to and you must rewire your system, okay? And it might take a bit. And by a bit, I mean, it might take years, it might take months, who knows, right? But it's all about your commitment and your strength, which I know I've said this before in the last episodes. You staying like, enough, literally, enough. And so by you saying that, then the whole existence literally supports you. Energetically speaking, it's like you're sending the signal out to the universe and be like, yep, universe, I'm done with these cycles. So send me all the energies that will support me through this process. And then your ancestors go like, light bulb moment. All right. So they come and they hold space for you, and they're working through their own ancestral trauma in their energetics, right? Because they're well, the ones that are in energy form, right? And also yourself. And then and then because you sent that energy into the universe to say, yep, come on, I need all the help that I can get, right? Then your guides, the specific guides that you set up prior of coming to this existence as a human being, go like, yo, the door is open, let's go. And they come and guide you and help you, okay? And maybe if you're not familiar with the concept of working with guides, right? And perhaps you can't hear them yet or see them yet, they're still there. It doesn't mean that they're not there and that you're doing this alone. You have this huge circle of support system, and it also comes as support of the earth, right? It's part of the universe. So the moment that you send the signal out, the signal is also going down to the roots of the earth, and the earth is like, yeah, all right, come into my womb, right? And then she's holding you. Oh my goodness, this is like one of the most beautiful gifts that we have, in my experience and in my opinion, to be able to do this for ourselves, okay? The moment that we say like, yes, I need help, all the help that you need will come to you, okay? And this could also be in physical form as who knows, a mentor, a guide, a friend, a lover, whatever, a pet, right? and also energetically, right? So then you enter this woman transformation where the earth is holding you. This is why at times, if you actually hear your guides and see your guides, when you're going to a really deep process and you perhaps you don't hear them anymore, it's not like they're gone, okay? It's just you are in the womb, and the womb is protecting you from anything, from anything. Just like, when you're in the womb of your mother, right? When you're in the womb of your mother, you have all this protectiveness around you, which is her physicality, right? So that is what you can see as the physicality of Mother Earth, right? But obviously it's energetic. So you are in this woman transformation, and you could hear, if you work through in a way the barriers of hearing your guides, you can, but it's really just more of like what's happening inside. It takes all your awareness to be with it, and a lot of times, it can feel like this turmoil, like, oh my gosh, I'm going through this dark night of the soul. It's like, what is going on, right? And the key here through this transformation is to actually soften, to be like, okay, I'm going through this process, right? And I'm talking about the part that sucks, you guys. Okay? The part that we normally say, this sucks so much right now. That this part is actually the most wonderful part. This is a part where you are becoming a butterfly, right? You're shaking like crazy. You start like a goo, right? You're like shaking and all these things. And you're moving the energy, right? You're moving the energy, you're making peace with the past, you're accepting like your ancestral lineage, right? And like even if you don't really know them, right? You're taking the moment to say, I honor them, and I can accept my lineage as they are, right? And this also refers to your mother, to your father, to your siblings, right? They're still part of your ancestral lineage, okay? You came through them, whether they're still in physical form or not, okay? So it doesn't mean that you have to go and be like, I'm sorry, dad, I'm sorry, mom, right? Like that could be part of somebody's healing process. It was part of mine, yeah. But some people need to take space from their family for a bit, and that's okay. If that's you, that's okay. Some of our healing process will be similar, and some will not. And who knows? Maybe down the road you could actually speak to them. Maybe not, right? So just honoring the space where you are and the space where others are as well, okay? And so through this womb of transformation, right? This is where the cycles begin to end, right? Through this shift. And if you could imagine, right, that you had this ginormous cord and I'm gonna be a little brutal right now. This is just to get the idea, okay? This ginormous cord, okay, that was sucking the life out of you, like literally, that it was like pulling you backwards too, right? On those games that the pull rope games. I don't know what I really call in English, honestly. But there's two teams, right? One is pulling in one direction, the other is pulling in another direction, so you don't go down into the mud, right? So like something similar like that, but only that you are the one that is pulling yourself forwards, right? You and your team, your spirit teams, right? And then the ancestral trauma is pulling you backwards, right? And a lot of times when we're just like feeling sorry for ourselves and saying, how could you do this? Whatever. What happens is that you're pulling backwards. You're being pulled backwards, and you're being pulled down in darkness and darkness and darkness and darkness and darkness, right? So in order to move forwards, right, you are the one that must pull yourself forwards. You're the one that asks for help and say, guides, help me. And I'm going to give it my all, right? And you give it your all because you know that you're worthy. And then you know that you came here to cut down on that energetics that is sucking the life force out of you and out of your ancestors too, because the reason why you are having that is because they still have it. And you're doing this not only out of self-love, but also for them. You're doing that for them and for your whole lineage, right? And so the moment that you say yes, okay, and you ask for help for the universe, and however the help shows up. You're pulling yourself forwards, right? And also your ancestors are going against that energy too, right? Pushing you forwards and pushing themselves forwards too. Imagine, like, wow, that's so wonderful, super wonderful. So this is all happening in this woman transformation, right? Where the earth is holding you. So there's like nothing to worry about. The worry actually begins to extend this process, right? And when we're talking about, sometimes this process could be months, honestly. Sometimes it could be years, right? And sometimes it could actually be like, I'm going really deep and then I feel really good and I go back into being really deep, right? So this is why surrendering and accepting where you are in your process, it's crucial, because then you're allowing the energies to do that. You're allowing your energies to pull you forwards, right? You're allowing yourself to be pushed forwards by your ancestors, and you're also allowing yourself to be held by the earth, right? And all this help for your whole team. And so if you don't, if you have the tendency to like intense a little bit, then it's almost like you're pausing it, right? It's no flowing. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, we gotta tense up. Something is freaking me out, right? And then you soften, it's like, okay, we can go again, right? And of course, it's a human tendency, I believe, honestly, that first we're like, oh my gosh, it sucks, I'm gonna tense up, right? But knowing that it's okay not to be okay, really give yourself permission to be messy. This whole spiritual awakening situation is so freaking messy, you guys. It's so messy. It's not as beautiful as like people paint it to be in social media, right? When it's like, oh, love and light, and like, you put your wings on and you're just flying. Like, no, no. Surely you feel like that afterwards, right? I definitely do, right? And that's a great thing. But the most important part of spiritual awakening is those sucky process. They're so freaking messy. When you cry your eyes out, when you scream like crazy, right? When the body shakes and moves and the whole deal, to me, that is the gift. Holy shit. That is where the whole process happens, right? But somehow we don't like to see tears, somehow we don't like to see screams like, oh my gosh, that's so bad, when that is so healthy. So healthy if you're doing it for yourself, right? Not if you're bashing on somebody and telling them silly things. Yeah. So there's a difference. So let yourself be messy. It's okay to just be like, today I just feel very crappy, right? Today I feel very angry. Today I feel very sad, I mean, totally. Instead of just like, yeah, I'm okay, in the fake smile, right? And it doesn't mean that you're not okay, right? So of course, as you're going through this process, there will be moments that you're okay, and there'll be moments where like, maybe you don't even know how you feel, right? The point here is that it's gonna be messy, At times it's gonna feel very painful. And at times it's going to be super blissful. And you might go up and down like that, right? Because the moment that we surrender, it's more like, okay, you do feel the pain and all these things, right? But because you're allowing the energies to flow, it's not going to be as a longer process than when you tense up and you try to control things, right? And know when you try to control this, again, you're putting a pause into this, because you're like literally telling the energies, yo, I know better than you, so you should stop. When it's like, sure, right? We're pure consciousness, but at the same time, we have this personal consciousness, we have the ego, and we don't know everything. We don't know everything. We don't know how it's going to play out. We might have this idea, you might have this idea that this is how it's going to play out. And then it surprises yourself that it plays out completely different. And maybe you couldn't even have imagined that, even if you have a deep imagination, okay? So as you surrender to this process, right? And then it comes this part where you have this integration process, or even before that, actually, you have this light bulb moment, right? This expansiveness. This is where the winds come through, right? And this is where, like, literally, like the social media situation about spiritual awakening, right? It's like Yes, I'm flying, I feel so uplifted. I feel so good, right? Because this thing that was being pulled from you, your energy field is no longer there. There's no that heaviness pulling you back anymore. But then you feel present. You're like, oh, wow, I'm here. Okay, that's great. That's great. And then it becomes into the integration process, which is, I find it one of the crucial parts of just in general spiritual awakening, okay? In your journey, in your healing journey. Because if you continue to go fast and fast and fast and fast, you will miss the wisdom that comes through. You will miss what you actually have been working towards to, okay? You'll miss what your ancestors have been trying to tell you and send you information about, which is why we go through these healing processes. Literally, why? So then you don't feel the pain anymore, but then what do you feel if it's not the pain? It's the other side. It's the wisdom. It's the love. It's the compassion. It's the community. It's the oneness. And it starts with the wisdom of your ancestors, which is a gift. And so you go through this whole process, and then that so you go through this big process and the dark night of the soul. And then what? Again, if you continue to go fast and fast and fast, you will miss what you've been wanting to feel. Then if you take the time to integrate, meaning you slow down, you take time to be with yourself, you take time to take care of you. Like, what does your body need at this moment? When I go through a deep process, my body wants to rest. I feel exhausted. It's almost like, imagine like I just went hiking for like 2 years, who knows, right? If it was a really deep process, 2 years carrying this huge backpack. And finally, I made it. And I don't have the backpack anymore, but then my shoulders still achy, my legs are still achy. So then I get a rest. I get to take care of my body, take some baths, perhaps, and journal, meditate. Like, all right, how is it that you integrate? How is it that you feel more relaxed, right? I like to move. I like to dance. I like to be in stillness. I like to sing. I like to write. It's like literally I let in different kinds of ways this wisdom to come through. And a lot of times, you guys, it's literally I'm laying in bed, I'm cuddling with my puppy, my unicorn, and I'm just there vibrating, and I'm just resting. Sometimes put a nice essential oil on or some music, right? But like this is how I do my thing. Sure, I still like to dance and do the other things, right? But I like to be in stillness and let my body relax fully. And this is what I receive, all these things, and I see it and I feel it, right? And I'm just like in awe. The integration process for me, it's like deeper than the whole release. It's super important because now it's like, all right, I get to experience the new me, these new vibrations. How can I welcome these vibrations so they know that they're super welcome and I've been waiting for them? Yeah. It's just imagine if one of your loved ones went to war, right? And then you know exactly when they're coming back home. And rather than being like, hey, when they first walk towards the door, you're just still watching TV like, hi, what's up? Just like if it were another day that you just saw them like 5 seconds ago. It's actually like, okay, you make these huge plans, right? All right, so we're gonna go out for lunch. We're gonna go pick you up from the airport, and like, maybe take you out after for you to rest, and then have your time. But then we get to talk, right? Like, however it plays out, right? So it's like the same thing. It's like, hi. Oh my goodness, I've been waiting for you. All right. So what do you need? You're probably super exhausted as well, just like my body is. So how about we chill? And as I chill, we can have this communication and you can tell me like this new wisdom, like this whole thing that is happening, right? And I get to know you and you get to know me too, right? It's actually like a new being, a new vibration. So you're not the person that was before this whole experience happened, yeah? You're different. You're a new version of yourself, right? Just trying to get to know a new person. It's not like, I mean, unless you have this really deep connection, like, oh, I know you, sister, or I know you, brother, right? It's more like, all right, tell me something about you, and then you share and all these things, and you're listening, right? You're paying attention. You're like, I think this person's kind of cool, right? Or maybe you're like, I don't think we vibe, man. And that's all right too, right? So it's like the same thing with you, but you want to vibe, right? You want to vibe. And so in this moments, you get to know yourself in the integration process, you get to know yourself, the new you, right? This new energies. And also like in the new you is this power, right? This power, the power of your ancestors. Maybe something else woke up within you. Maybe it was more self-love, right? So this whole thing about ancestral wisdom, I think a lot of people have this perception, right? That is like this, I'm gonna get this massive gifts, which you could, okay? I'm not saying that you don't, but it might be different, okay? It might be just like experiencing a deeper love for yourself. And what a freaking gift, right? So I'm saying this so you get out of like your way, okay? So you're not saying like, this is the gift that I want to receive, okay? Give me this gift. It's like surrendering and being like, I'm gonna be happy with whatever it is that I receive. Because I know that no matter what I receive, I'm gonna love myself even more. And that is the gift. That is the most wonderful gift. Tapping into the unconditional love that you are, just vibrating on your bed like, holy shit, feeling this deep love that just brings you tears. And it's like, wow, I had been caring so much. And now I get to feel me. Now I get to feel my love. This is how it feels like to be me. Wow. Thank you so much. You see what a beautiful gift that is? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And let me tell you that that was my experience in this integration process. Many times I was laying in bed, like feeling the back of my heart expanding so much. And of course, my body cracking in different ways now. Um, Perhaps you've seen my body cracking, right? It actually happened at the beginning of this video. It's like, rah, rah, rah. So it's like, whoa, this is the new me. This is the new me. And this love, holy moly. And the way that my body's cracking, that is different, that is opening up other channels that I hadn't felt before, you know, I'm not waiting for like something bam, but I'm receptive of it. I'm happy with everything that I feel because for me, feeling the unconditional love for myself is the biggest gift that my ancestors have held space for me and anybody else. Okay. And that is the thing, the biggest gift that passes through, the biggest ancestral wisdom that passes through every single person in your lineage to you is the deep, deep unconditional love that they feel for you and that you feel for yourself. The deep acceptance of you, like you have been so loved all this time, all this time. And all the stories that you created in your mind, they were crap. So now get to feel this love. Get to feel how we love you, how we see you, how extremely proud we are of you. Now feel it. Feel it. And it's like bathing in this it's love that just brings you tear like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe that I had believed that my ancestors hated me, or or that my parents didn't love me, or that I was not accepted in my family. It's just like, how did I believe that in the beginning? But of course I did, you know? Of course I did, because my ancestors felt that too. And we all were hugging each other as we were feeling this deep pain, because we all wanted to release it at the same time together. And we just did it. Wow, we just did it. And again, to feel that love, a melting, a melting. Wow, thank you. Thank you. That's the wisdom, you guys. Mm, that's the wisdom. To me, that's the deepest wisdom that can come through from anybody, from anybody. Deep, deep love and acceptance. What else do we want as humans in this life? To be accepted, to be loved as how we are. It doesn't matter how we are, right? It doesn't matter how we act. It doesn't matter if we throw a tantrum or we are just like jumping up and down with so much joy, right? It's like, I want you to love me and accept me as I am, no matter what. When I'm a mess, when I'm not a mess, when I'm in between spaces, when I'm not, I want you to accept me and love me. And I believe that that's one of the reasons why there's so much freaking conflict in the planet. Because we just cannot accept. Some of us cannot fully accept others, right? And we believe that our beliefs are a higher priority than other beliefs. Like, come on, come on, you know? Surely we are super similar, and at the same time, we're not. I might believe something that has helped me so deeply that maybe that belief for you is nuts, and that's okay, That doesn't help you out, that's cool, and it's great that it doesn't help you out. But even so, in that acceptance, if you don't accept that of me, for example, but you still accept me as I am, and you still honor my being, thank you. That's a gift. If you don't believe something, if I don't believe something of you, yet I'm like, I still love you as you are and accept you as you are, no matter what. Wow, that's another gift for you. And it creates massive openness in the heart space, in the back of the heart, in the front of the heart, in the sides of the heart. And every heart that we have, in the Quechua language, actually, every single organ has a heart. Every single energy has a heart. We're all huge hearts. And so to be accepted and loved as we are, even if we completely disagree in some things, is the biggest gift. And that, I believe to be, in my experience, it has been the ancestral wisdom. The deepest, actually, because there's many things that come through. Yeah, many things, many things. But for you to actually accept yourself as you are, to love yourself as you are, and to feel your being as you are, without any pain from somebody else, right? But you. Wow. Thank you, ancestors. Thank you for holding this space for me and for you as we cut down on that cord, as we close the cycle, so then you can experience yourselves energetically, and I can experience myself physically, energetically, spiritually, however you want. I like to take a moment just to sinking into these energies, to let them pass, let them root in you, to feel the awareness that comes through. Feel free to close your eyes if that's good for you. To feel it in you, right? What are you receiving through this transmission? How are you feeling that? How are you welcoming that? Mm. And let it do its thing, right? Knowing that it's only for your highest good, which is the highest good. Mm. Ah, how beautiful. How beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. It really is such an honor to do this episodes. Such an honor to share with you, whether we've met in person or not, whether you've just seen me on the screen, I truly honor you because we are each other and we're going through this journey together. Yeah. Even if we will never meet in person in this lifetime, we're doing this together and you're doing a great job. And I see you as the greatest being that you are, and I accept you as you are, and I love you as you are. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Ciao.